With your permission, may I please ask your guests to take their seats? Thank you. Your Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, Minister for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Honorable Ngwalu Jumanne Magembe and Honorable James Kinyasi Milia, Deputy Ministers for Foreign Affairs and East African Community, respectively, Permanent Secretaries and Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Ambassador Yusuf Mdolwa, Chief of Protocol, Your Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Ahmada Al-Badawi Mohamed Faki, Ambassador of the Union of Comoros and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, heads of diplomatic missions, international organizations and other members of diplomatic corps, heads of the Department of the units, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. It is my great honor and pleasure to host you this morning here in our beautiful capital city of Dodoma, our political heart. A city that continues to grow not only as a constitutional capital of Tanzania, but also as a center of dialogue, diplomacy, and shared purpose. That this gathering takes place in Dodoma for the first time is not accidental. It reflects how the center of governance, dialogue, and the partnership has firmly taken root here. On behalf of Our Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, I warmly welcome you all. Karibuni sana and feel at home. It is now my honor to invite our first speaker to offer brief welcoming remarks. Please join me in welcoming Honorable Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, Minister for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation.
Your Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Chief Secretary Dr. Ambassador Dr. Moses Kusiluka, Honorable Ngwaru Jumanne Magembe and Honorable James Kinyasi Milia, Deputy Ministers for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Ambassador Dr. Samuel William Shelukindo, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, responsible for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Stephen Mbundi, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, responsible for East African Cooperation Affairs, Ambassador Said Shaib Musa, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Your Excellency Dr. Ahmada Al-Badawi Mohamed Faki, Ambassador of the Union of Comoros and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellencies, High Commissioners, Ambassadors, heads of diplomatic missions and international organizations, heads of department and units from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation. Can you all stand so that the President sees you? I want the team from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mheshimiwa, hiyo ndio timu yetu ya Wizara ya Mambo ya Nje, nimetaka waone. Asanteni sana. Heads of international organization, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Good morning to you all. That's better. Kazi na utu. It is a great pleasure and honor, Madam President, to join you at your invitation at the State House today, here in Dodoma for the first time, for the Sheri Party, for this very important annual diplomatic event that is in your calendar always. Excellency President, your presence here today is a clear testament to the enduring friendship and partnership that we have always valued and have been providing in your leadership that unites us as your Minister of Foreign Affairs and you as a diplomat number one in the country to the whole diplomatic community in the United Republic of Tanzania.
Katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Roho ya umoja huu endelea kutuongoza katika safari yetu ya kisiasa inayowakilisha nchi zao na taasisi zao nchini Tanzania. Hivyo kwa kifupi, Mheshimiwa Rais leo unakutana na dunia nzima katika sehemu moja hapa Dodoma. Mwaka 2025 umeakisiwa kwa maendeleo ya kidiplomasia na kuakisi ushirika wa pamoja wa Tanzania na wabia wake wa kimataifa. Tunaendelea kuendeleza maya ya taifa letu katika mazungumzo rasmi ya wazi na wabia wa nchi na nchi. Mwaka 2025, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania ilikita mizizi yake katika mahusiano kuendana na sera mpya ya mambo ya nje na vipaumbele vyake. Hivi viliwekwa wazi vikipewa msisitizo katika diplomasia ya uchumi,
non-aligned standing and development cooperation. These efforts, Your Excellency, were guided by you, Madam President, and your visionary leadership, whose commitment to constructive international open dialogue and engagement continues to elevate United Republic of Tanzania's position regionally, continentally, and globally. We congratulate you, Madam President, for that. Your Excellency, Madam President, reflecting on the year 2025 more broadly, I was accorded the rare privilege and great honor to continue serving as your Minister for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation during your second term administration. I remain deeply grateful to Your Excellency, Madam President, for your renewed trust in me personally and the confidence level you have always given me. I have no enough words of appreciating this great honor that you have extended in my career. I say, Mheshimiwa Rais, asante sana. I would also like to take this opportunity in front of you, Madam President, to thank all the members of the diplomatic community here in Tanzania for their continued cooperation and support that they've provided me personally and my whole team in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I once again reaffirm my commitment to discharge my duties together with the team diligently, with renewed vigor, and to work closely with all the diplomatic community members and to ensure that their tour of duty in the United Republic of Tanzania is both productive, fulfilling, and a very memorable one. Excellency, Madam President, the second half of the last year reminded us all that change is the only constant. At home here in Tanzania, there was unorthodox and unexpected political disruption following the very regrettable events of October 29th during the general elections. These events, Madam President, impacted our country's standing and image globally. Here at home, we witnessed riots and attacks in both public and private properties, including sad moment of loss of lives. And while abroad, we witnessed disturbing developments of increased polarization, diminishing multilateralism, funding cuts, and global economic uncertainty. Our foreign policy and our Tanzanian diplomacy were put to the test for the first time in our history since independence 64 years ago. Madam Excellency President, upon my appointment as your foreign minister, I received many calls and written messages of encouragement and solidarity from many of our close friends and allies, Some included concerns too, while others asked what happened to Tanzania, a known cradle of peace for the last 64 years in the region since its independence. Others submitted their messages through diplomatic channels to you, Your Excellency, while some, unfortunately, through inappropriate platforms and spaces. I shared with you, Excellency, Madam President, as diplomat number one, each message that we received. For me and my team in the ministry, every message mattered. Every voice was heard and acted upon. All we required, as you said previously, was space of time interval to address each one of them appropriately and respond to it accordingly. On the 28th November, you instructed me for the first time to meet with all the excellencies around this room in order to explain the same to them. That was my first meeting as the new minister in this term. With your able wisdom, Madam Excellency President, and guidance, and upon your instructions and directives, I actively and extensively reached out to all and engaged capitals, allies, majesties, and friends who all welcomed your message with open arms and hearts through the special envoy. Madam Excellency President, to those who needed more clarification, I provided it and shared our narrative. With those narratives, where those narratives differed from ours, I gave them a detailed explanation with supporting evidences. Finally, we were well understood as a nation, and the United Nations agreed to provide space for healing and recovery via your inquiry commission, which I clearly explained to be followed by reconciliation through Your Excellency, Madam President, strengthened for our practical approach, which you clearly mentioned in your speech during the launch of inquiry commission, who also met this diplomatic community present here today. Madam President, I also registered our concerns with those whose conduct was inconsistent with our playbook, the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations of 1961, and fell short of long-standing diplomatic traditions and decorum. These too were well noted and received with a feedback provided to you, Excellency. No opportunity was lost and no avenue spared, whether it was a telemeeting with Commonwealth ministers, virtually or bilateral visits, or in the margins of other international conferences. I reached out with your instructions with the same message, Your Excellency, that there is a return to normalcy in Tanzania and the lives of Tanzanians, and that our government is taking bold measures to fix what was tested but not broken. The message was very loud and clear that we stand stronger as a nation, united in our healing process and unified in our recovery. Madam Excellency President, I commend Your Excellency's leadership, consistency and clarity in your message throughout my journey, which I went around to meet different leaders to deliver this message. We managed to navigate the complexity under your leadership and endured difficulties and sustained momentum. We echo your promise of never shying away from any engagement, and let's have an open dialogue with respect, but in ways and manners that respect our political space, our mutual interests, our dignity, heshima yetu, our values, traditions, and culture. This is consistent with the pillars and principles of our Constitution and foreign policy of the United Republic of Tanzania. That is what makes us Tanzanians a unique identity that we pride ourselves globally. It would be a remiss for me, Excellency Madam President, not to mention and acknowledge all our gallant ambassadors, high commissioners and diplomats abroad representing our nation. They have been your very strong foot soldiers in diplomacy for staying on course and actively engaging host governments, partners, and people of goodwill with Tanzania with the same message globally. To them we say asanteni sana waheshimiwa mabalozi 50 mnaowakilisha Tanzania nje ya nchi katika ulimwengu mzima. As we move forward into 2026, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation remains steadfast in its commitment to strengthening strategic partnership, promoting Tanzania's interest, and contributing to the regional and global peace and development. Excellency, Madam President, as stated earlier, my role was merely to set a stage and welcome you. But before I welcome you, I would like now to welcome the Dean of all ambassadors and high commissioners here in United Republic of Tanzania. So, Mheshimiwa Dean, karibu sana.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Avant de commencer mon discours, on va procéder à une séance de prière. J'inviterai mon collègue Argentino pour une prière, mais aussi personnellement pour une prière pour les musulmans. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma inna fi man hadayt. وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا من الخير فيما أعطيت وقنا يا ربي شر ما قضيت. اللهم حفظ هذه الدولة خصوصا دكتور سامية سلوه حسن ووزير الخارجية محمود ثابت كومبو وكل الدولة التنزانية. اللهم احفظنا واجعلنا مطمئنا قلوبنا في هذه البلد الميمون. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Argentino is here.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for having gathered us today. With grateful hearts, we give you thanks for the year we have concluded, for its challenges, its achievements, and for the lessons learned. As we begin this new year, we humbly ask you to enlighten, guide, and protect us, so that our service may always be inspired by wisdom, integrity, and a sincere desire for the common good. We pray that all our countries may continue to grow in friendship and good relations with the United Republic of Tanzania, fostering cooperation, mutual respect, and peace among nations. And we commend, Heavenly Father, to your loving care, the President, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. May you bless her, grant her strength and perseverance, and guide her along the path of reconciliation and unity, so that Tanzania may continue to flourish in peace, justice, and harmony. We ask this through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, Raisi wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Balozi Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, mbunge, waziri wa mambo ya nje na East African Cooperation wa Tanzania, Naibu Waziri Ngarujumani Mangembe Bunge, Kinyasi Milia Bunge, Mheshimiwa Balozi Dr. Samuel William Shilukindo, Katibu Mkuu Wizara ya Mambo ya Nje, Mheshimiwa Stephen Bundi, Katibu Mkuu in charge Afrika ya Mashariki, Naibu Katibu Musa Shaib, Balozi Yusuf Mdolwa, Mkuu wa Itifaki, Mashawiri Ahadul Mashawir na wakurungezi walio hapa, wajeni waalikwa, mabibi na mabwana, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Excellence, Madame la Présidente, c'est pour moi un réel plaisir de m'adresser à vous, Excellence, au nom de l'ensemble de la communauté diplomatique accréditée en République unie de Tanzanie, à l'occasion de la cérémonie annuelle de présentation de vœux du Nouvel An 2026. Cette rencontre constitue un moment privilégié de réflexion, de partage, placé sous le signe de l'amitié, de l'ouverture, de l'engagement mutuel, du respect, et qui caractérise vos relations avec la communauté diplomatique.
Tukiwa tunaendana na namna ambavyo kufahamika katika ushirika wa mabalozi hawa, na naomba niruhusu Mheshimiwa Rais Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan niweze kusema ya kwamba ninakushukuru wewe binafsi pamoja na watu wa Tanzania kwa ajili ya ukarimu wao, kwa ajili ya unyenyekevu wao na wazi wao, na umoja huu na ushirikiano huu ndo unaofanya tuweze kuendelea kushirikiana. Na pia ningependa kwa niaba ya mabalozi kukupongeza kutokana na kuweza kushinda kuendelea na uongozi wako kwa awamu ya pili, na tunaendelea kuwa na dhamira ya dhati kuendelea kufanya kazi kwa karibu na watu wa Tanzania, na pia tukiheshimu nchi ya Tanzania na maono ya ile dira ya 2050. Tanzania ina nafasi ya kipekee sana katika bara la Afrika na huu ukanda wa Afrika Mashariki na duniani kwa ujumla, na inafahamika kama nchi ya amani, kama nchi ya umoja na utulivu, na pia daraja la biashara, na ni taifa ambalo sauti yake ina nguvu hata ya kimaadili katika umoja na kadhalika. Katika swala la kimaongozi, Mheshimiwa Rais, ni wazi kabisa kwamba Tanzania inaendelea kuonyesha dhamira yake na uwezo wake mkuu ule wakati ambapo dunia inapitia wakati mgumu, na kwa kweli tumeona dhamira ya dhati ya nchi yako katika kutunza amani na utulivu, na nafasi yake pia katika kuweza kutunza nafasi yake kama mmoja wa wabia muhimu sana katika ukanda huu na hata katika jamii ya kimataifa. Na kutokana na hilo sisi kama balozi na wawakilishi wa mabalozi tunatambua hiyo nafasi, na kupitia sekta mbalimbali kama utalii, kama kilimo na kadhalika, mambo ya tehama. Hata katika swala zima la ukosoa wanawake tumeona kabisa namna gani yote haya Tanzania mmezidi kuwa vinara na kuonyesha namna gani mnaweza kuonyesha mfano. Na unajua mataifa mengi waga yanapitia kipindi cha jaribiwa kama hiki, kwa hiyo kitu ambacho kinatofautisha yale mataifa yenye nguvu ni ule uwezo wa kushinda nyakati kama hizi na kuweza kuzishinda kupitia majadiliano na kuweza kuwa na dhamira dhati ya kuweza kusonga mbele. Kwa hiyo sisi kama mabalozi na wakilishi wa mabalozi kwa kweli tulifuatilia kwa ukaribu sana yale yaliyotokea baada ya uchaguzi mwaka jana 2025, na tukaona namna gani serikali ya Tanzania iliweza kulisimamia swala lote, na pia tungependa kutoa salamu zetu za pole, lakini pia tumfurahia na namna ambavyo kumeweza kuundwa ile tume ili kuweza kuona namna gani ya kuzuia matukio haya huko mbeleni. Kwa hiyo sisi kama wabia ambao tunashirikiana na tunaheshimiana, tunafanya haya kwa ajili ya kuweza kuleta maendeleo ya Tanzania. Kwa hiyo tunatangaza kwamba tutaendelea kufanya kazi kwa karibu na serikali ya Tanzania kupitia kuendelea kwa majadiliano na kuendelea kuwa na ushirikiano mkubwa, tukiendelea kusimamia filosofia ambazo hata wewe kama Mheshimiwa Rais unaendelea kuzisimamia. Kwa hiyo kabla sijahitimisha, naomba uniruhusu niseme hili kwa niaba ya wenzangu kwamba tunashukuru sana na tunamshukuru sana Mheshimiwa Balozi ambaye ni mbunge na waziri wa mambo ya nje kwa namna ambavyo ameweza kusaidia sana sisi kama mabalozi tulioko mahali hapa, lakini pia tungependa kutoa shukrani zetu za dhati kwa ajili ya afua kadhaa kama zile za kuandaa safari mbalimbali ili tuweze kugundua namna gani Tanzania ina vivutio vingi vya utalii. Tumetembelea maeneo kama Zanzibar, Ngorongoro na kadhalika, na pia niruhusu hilo tukio lilituwezesha pia kuweza kugundua utajiri uliopo ndani ya Tanzania na pia kuweza kupeleka hiyo taarifa katika nchi zetu, na namna gani ametuonyesha kwamba yeye ni mzalendo ambaye kwa kweli anafanya kazi yake kwa kudhamiria kwa ajili ya kuendelea kujenga nchi yake. Kwa hiyo nasi pia tunaendelea kuahidi ya kwamba tutaendelea kufanya kazi kwa pamoja ili tuendelee kuwa na mwaka wenye matokeo mazuri, huu mwaka mpya 2026. Kwa hiyo jamaa mabalozi, ungependa pia kuhakikishia Mheshimiwa Rais ya kwamba wewe pamoja na watu wa Tanzania. Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba pia uniruhusu
et enfin accorde un prompt rétablissement à ceux qui sont malades. Vive la Tanzanie, vive la coopération internationale.
Wale ambao wamepata machungu kupitia jumuiya ya kimataifa. Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those warm and thoughtful remarks.
Ninakushukuru sana Mheshimiwa Balozi kwa hotuba yako hiyo fupi. Mheshimiwa Rais, kumradhi kwa kuruka waheshimiwa kadha katika serikali yako.
Also Ambassador Dr. Moses Kusiluka, Chief Secretary, and Mr. Majula Maendeka, Permanent Secretary, State House. Once again, Your Excellency, it is now my pleasure to invite Honorable Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo to welcome Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, to deliver her address.
Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, I did address the Chief Secretary, but I also apologize I didn't see your PS Majura Mahendeka. Maybe you can stand so that the whole world sees you today, because the world is around here today in one room in Dodoma. Asante sana Chief Secretary, asante sana PS Mahendeka. As I said earlier, today is not my stage for speaking. The distinguished heads of missions, representatives of regional and international organizations present here today, the high commissioners and ambassadors, together with all other esteemed guests that Your Excellency have invited, are keen and eagerly ready to hear you. And therefore, it is my distinct honor to welcome you, Madam Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, to address this very special occasion of the diplomats. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa heshima na taadhima naomba kukaribisha. Asante.
May we please take our seats? Honorable Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, Minister for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, and the whole team, management and the team from the ministry. Ambassador Dr. Kosiluka, the Chief Secretary of the government, Principal Secretary, the President's Office, Majura Mahendeka, Excellencies, Your Excellency Dr. Ahmad Al-Badawi Mohamed Faki, Ambassador of the Union of Comoros and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, heads of diplomatic missions and international organizations, and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Excellencies, in the spirit of friendship, allow me to once again welcome you to the State House here in Chamwino, Dodoma, to our annual diplomatic gathering. I'm not sure if this time we call it a Shweri party or just a gathering. The first ever to be held here in our capital city. Thank you for honoring my invitation. And as we begin 2026, I extend my warmest wishes for the new year to you and the global leaders you present. I'm aware that there are high commissioners, ambassadors, and representatives of international organizations who have joined the diplomatic community since our last gathering. I warmly welcome you and assure you of my personal and the government's full support during your tour of duty in the country. Excellencies, we meet at a time when the international environment remains complex. Conflicts persist, economic uncertainty continues to affect many societies, and climate shocks are increasingly frequent and disruptive. In such a world, Tanzania remains firmly convinced that dialogue, cooperation, and multilateral solutions are indispensable, and the value of diplomacy is not ceremonial, it is essential. The past year has been impactful and one of profound transition, not only for us, but for our neighbors and allies. In memoriam, we pause to honor the prominent global icons who have passed away this last year. Their contributions to development will forever be etched in our history. We extend our deepest condolences to their nations while their legacies challenge us to lead with greater purpose. On the other hand, we have witnessed the wind of change, and we have watched with keen interest the various elections across our continent. We congratulate the newly elected governments in our brotherly nations. Tanzania stands ready to work with these new administrations to strengthen African Union's vision of an integrated and prosperous continent. We note with satisfaction the prevailed democratic resilience across the globe. Despite our own challenges, we celebrate the peaceful transition of power seen in friendly nations abroad, including some of your own countries. Their success provides us with a roadmap for our own institutional reforms. As you are aware, diplomacy is deeply rooted in mutual respect, and I wish to take this moment to extend my warmest congratulations to all nations celebrating their national days this month. Tanzania celebrates with you. Your progress inspires our own, and your friendship is a pillar of our foreign policy. Excellencies, the past year was a significant chapter in Tanzania's journey. Economic diplomacy remained central to Tanzania's foreign policy, with government's efforts focused on attracting investment, strengthening public-private partnerships, and expanding priority sectors to drive economic growth, create employment, and promote inclusive development. My administration remains committed to further unlocking our economy by, among other things, empowering the private sector. Looking ahead, we'll pay particular attention to the blue and green economies, logistics, manufacturing, and digital landscape. Furthermore, we are eager to harness our extractive sector, including natural gas, iron, steel, and critical minerals to drive national development. Excellencies, as you are aware, we successfully conducted our 7th democratic election, achieving a milestone with nearly 44% women representing in the National Assembly, and the election was solely financed through domestic resources. This underscored national ownership, institutional maturity, and the government's commitment to self-reliance in managing democratic processes. Despite these remarkable achievements, with heavy hearts, we acknowledge the challenges of the unrest and violence on the election day and shortly thereafter. Our response was essential to maintain constitutional order and ensure safety of all citizens and diplomatic community. To our partners in the diplomatic community and the foreigners residing here in Tanzania, I express my sincere sympathy for the uncertainty, service disruption, and internet shutdowns you experienced. I assure you, we remain vigilant to ensure your safety and prevent any repeat of such experiences. Excellencies, democracy is a journey of growth. Every political system contains grievances. It is clear that there is no global formula for these unique challenges, and we must afford each other the space to learn and grow with humility. To those who send solidarity and congratulatory messages, we thank you. To those who didn't, we take note of your feedback too. I ask your friends of goodwill to lend their support to our reforms. And to those who may not share our vision, I ask that you at least respect our sovereignty. The voice of Tanzanians has been heard through the ballot box, and that voice must be respected. To foster national healing, or in order to foster national healing, I've undertaken the following steps. 1, establishment of the Ministry of Youth under President's Office to institutionalize the image of our next generation. But 2, pardoned 1,787 convicts associated with the unrest and violence of 29th October last year. 3rd, constituted an independent commission of inquiry in accordance with our Constitution. And lastly, pledged to establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to proceed our new constitution process. My administration is resolved to use this second term to repair, rebuild, and renew our nation. To my fellow Tanzanians, the discord we witnessed is not who we are. It's not at all. To our international partners, we recognize that stability is the currency of diplomacy. Today, I plead that our path forward will be paved with the stones of justice, dialogue, and a renewed respect for the democratic process. And in this regard, allow me to quote philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, who once said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." In this context, as a country, we understand the mistakes of our past, but our eyes are fixed firmly on the future. Excellencies, Tanzania remains one of the Africa's fastest growing economy, with almost 6% GDP growth and inflation maintained at a stable 3.3%. In addition, the national debt continues to be sustainable, with the debt to GDP ratio currently standing at 48.2%, below the threshold of 55% for low-income countries. As for our capital markets, the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange saw market capitalization rise by 34.3%, reaching billions of Tanzanian shilling, about 23,995 by year end. In addition, we have continued to enjoy favorable credit score, B1 from Moody and B+ from Fitch credit rating. This stable outlook signals investors' confidence, lower borrowing costs, and economic resilience, which marks a positive step in building international confidence and attracting more foreign direct investment. We endeavor to ensure continued governance reforms, reducing foreign currency shortages, and improving the tax to GDP ratio. The favorable credit ratings and stable economic outlook led to registration of 927 new investment projects by December 2025, with a combined value exceeding $11.09 billion, representing a significant 19.03% increase compared to the previous year. The registration of these projects in 2025 stands at the record of the highest number of projects registered in calendar year since the establishment of the Tanzania Promotion Agency, breaking the record of 905 projects last year. On these 927 projects, 66, equivalent to 7.12%, are expansion projects demonstrating sustained confidence by existing investors in Tanzania's growth trajectory and its investment climate. Collectively, the 927 projects are expected to generate more than 162,895 new jobs for Tanzanians, while foreign direct investment, FDI, remained robust. Local investors' participation also remained strong, with 288 projects, equivalent to 31.07%, expected to be implemented by domestic investors, reflecting growing confidence among Tanzanian entrepreneurs. To our investors, we pledge to ensure the existing and new investments are protected and secured. On the other hand, in 2025, we continued with our industrialization journey, and we have experienced a rise in key economic sectors. The leading sectors include agriculture, of which its productivity continued to grow, with the food self-sufficiency ratio standing at 128% in 2024-25, reflecting a growth of around 3.2% over the period. In mining, we witnessed a further surge in activity, with mineral production increasing by 48.27 from 10.6 trillion in 2023-24 to 15.8 trillion in 24-25. The percent driven largely by gold, coal, building and industrial material. We are leveraging the 47.27% surge in mineral production witnessed in 2024-25 to bolster our national economic security. We now require large-scale miners to refine and sell at least 20% of their gold to the central bank to bolster our foreign reserves. We have also witnessed notable growth in the tourism sector, with the receipts rising from $1.3 billion in 2021 up to $4 billion in third quarter of 2025. Furthermore, Tanzania was honored as the world's leading safari destination 2025 at the World Travel Awards, reaffirming our standing as a premier global destination for wildlife and nature-based tourism. This recognition attests to our strong commitment to conservation, high-quality service delivery, and suitable tourism development, while further strengthening investor and visitor confidence in Tanzania as a safe, attractive, and rewarding destination. To further promote tourism, trade, and connectivity across the African continent, Air Tanzania expanded its route network in 2025 to key destinations and supporting the growth of intra-African tourism. We remain focused on expanding our connectivity, accelerating infrastructure development, and diversifying tourism offerings as we position Tanzania as a regional hub for tourism, trade, and logistics in Africa. Excellencies, this year marks the launch of Tanzanian Development Vision 2050, or Dira 2050, aiming for double-digit economic expansion through productivity gains in agriculture and industrial value addition. In this regard, we will also prioritize new economic frontiers by unlocking the blue economy, green economy, logistics, and digital landscape. Key focus will also be placed on harnessing natural gas, and our efforts will be geared toward the finalization of the $42 billion liquefied natural gas project, which will position Tanzania as a major player in the global energy market. On the other hand, the country is building an enabling environment that will attract investment, innovation, and promote local value addition in the critical mineral sector. Our drive will be towards promoting responsible investment that power the technologies of tomorrow, support the global energy transition, industrial development, and ensure direct benefits for Tanzanians. we invite governments, private sector actors, and development agencies to come partner with us in this key sector. My government is committed to managing these resources responsibly, transparently, and inclusively. I note with great enthusiasm the recent G20 endorsement of the critical minerals agenda. Tanzania fully supports this initiative and stands ready to engage actively with international partners to ensure that these resources contribute both global clean technologies and inclusive growth at home. Excellencies, as we all know, to unlock the economy, we need to invest in key infrastructure projects. Work is still going on to ensure completion of the standard gauge railway and the East African crude oil pipeline, which is set for completion in July 2026. The completion of Julius Nyerere hydropower plant and the operationalization of the SGR are not just engineering milestones, but engines of our new mineral economy. We are also putting a strong emphasis on value addition, export capacity, and job creation through the special economic zones by linking infrastructure and industrial ecosystems. Our message is clear. Tanzania is moving from exporting raw potential to exporting the value-added commodities. Within this strategy, ports and trade gateways play a critical role. Furthermore, we are advancing strategic projects, including Bagamoyo and its associated industrial ecosystem, not for prestige, but to unlock trade, industry, and competitiveness. Our infrastructure agenda is designed to serve Tanzania and the wider region as a platform for shared growth. Excellencies, as our economy diversifies and scales, human capital remains at the heart of our development strategy and the ultimate guarantee of our national resilience. Tanzania youth are the heartbeat of our 10% growth target. Vision 2050 has set a clear path to their prosperity. We moved beyond rhetorics by establishing the Ministry of Youth under my office, a strategic move to institutionalize their energy and directly integrate them into a $1 trillion economic vision. We now invite the international community to partner with us in transforming this youthful passion into skilled human capital, and that will drive our national transformation. We are cognizant of the fact that a competitive economy is impossible without a healthy workforce in building a dynamic and a healthy human capital. Tanzania fundamentally transitioning from a reliance on health aid toward a strategic focus on health investment. As a core pillar of our 2026 foreign policy, our vision for a $1 trillion economy is inseparable from our roll out universal health insurance and resilient medical infrastructure. So I take this opportunity to invite the diplomatic community to move beyond traditional assistance and instead engaging with us in medical diplomacy by supporting our ambition to become a regional hub for specialized care. We intend to leverage the high reputation of institutions like Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute to attract both medical as well as sustainable tourism. Simultaneously, I call for the facilitation of technology transfer to support our newly launched Pharmaceutical Investment Acceleration Program, which includes a Greenland fast-track approval system to attract investors and expedite decisions related to licensing, regulation, and other approvals. We welcome investors to come and establish local manufacturing plants so as to drastically reduce our dependency on imported essential medicines. Excellencies, climate resilience is equally centrally to our agenda. To us, climate action is not an abstract debate. It is a development and security imperative. It is a development and security imperative to take a lead in green diplomacy. We'll operationalize our carbon credit market and our national clean cooking strategy to ensure that our transition to a green economy is both inclusive and gender responsive. And so I invite you to join us in green lane partnerships that move beyond pledged aid toward the actual transfer of climate-smart technologies and predictable financing. Tanzania is ready to serve as a global carbon sink and a renewable energy hub, but this must be partnership of mutual respect that protects our sovereignty while safeguarding our planet for the future generations. Excellencies, I note with satisfaction the great strides made in our bilateral ties with our various countries in the year 2025. We were privileged to undertake various high-level visits to your countries, and we also had the honor to welcome and host high-level dignitaries from your respective countries and across the world. Through these visits, we have significantly solidified and concretized our relations on areas of mutual interest. We will ensure effective implementation of the outcomes of these visits. More areas of cooperation are expected to emerge through the joint permanent commissions and joint cooperation commissions and other joint platforms. We value the partnership we have with your respective countries and organizations and appreciate the significant contribution in the implementation of our national development. Excellencies, allow me now to highlight key milestones we made with some of your countries. We remain grateful to the government of the People's Republic of China for the launch of the China-Zambia Prosperity Belt, the securing of the $1.4 billion of the revitalization of the historic Tazara Railway will not just honor the legacy of our two founding fathers, but position Tanzania as the primary logistics gateway to the entire SADC region. As we are modernizing this corridor, we invite more partners to join us in this prosperity belt where our geography, our youth, and our peace converge to be the modern and competitive Africa. On the other hand, we note with satisfaction our partnership with the Russian Federation through the Mantra Tanzania investment in the Mkuju River uranium project. This $1.2 billion investment aims to unlock one of the world's largest uranium deposits and move Tanzania beyond resource extraction to secure high-value technology and thousands of industrial jobs for our youth. As for our partners in the United States, our collaboration on $2.1 billion project of the Kabanga Nickel project is a shining example of our not business as usual approach to bilateral cooperation by moving towards a final investment decision this year. We are not just opening the mine, but launching a modern green industrial revolution. We value these partnerships for its commitment to domestic refining and value addition, ensuring our resources are converted into high-quality jobs and shared prosperity. This spirit of openness and shared prosperity is precisely why our diplomatic family continues to grow. We warmly welcome the Slovak Republic and Republic of Hungary to the Tanzanian diplomatic community, at the opening of their full-fledged embassies in Dar es Salaam marks a significant milestone in our commitment to deepening economic diplomacy and expanding strategic partnership across European continent. In this respect, through you, Excellencies, ambassadors, and high commissioners, on behalf of the government of Tanzania, I wish to extend our sincere gratitude to your governments for the unwavering support that facilitated smooth bilateral engagements. Excellencies, fostering regionalism is one of the key principles of our foreign policy. We firmly believe in and appreciate the role of regional and sub-regional organizations in addressing regional challenges, be it development or peace and security challenges. As the host of the East African community, we remain committed to the East African Vision 2050, and we will continue to champion the Common Market Protocol and the promotion of Kiswahili as a regional lingua franca. Tanzania has successfully moved from a position of cautious protectionism to one of proactive leadership, facilitating free movement of goods, labor, and services that underpins the 2026 goal of a more unified and competitive East African cooperation. Excellencies, as founding member of SADC, our role in the region will continue to be defined by a resolute commitment to collective security and the principle that regional development is impossible without peace. Tanzania can be viewed as a consensus builder for its pivotal role of successfully hosting the landmark joint EAC SADC summit in Dar es Salaam to harmonize fragmented peace processes into a single cohesive African-led framework. The summit sent a clear message that just as our challenges are shared, so must be our solutions, reaffirming the mantra African solutions for African problems. Excellencies, on the continental stage, Tanzania's voice has never been more vital. As the third vice chairperson of the African Union and a member of the African Union Peace and Security Council over the past 4 years, the United Republic of Tanzania has played an active and constructive role in shaping Africa's governance and peace and security architecture. Guided by a long-standing tradition of Pan-African solidarity and responsible multilateralism, Tanzania has consistently championed diplomacy, inclusive dialogue, and African-led solution as the most effective pathways to conflict resolution, social cohesion, national unity, and lasting stability. Through principled engagement in council deliberations, calm and balanced diplomacy, and steadfast respect to constitutional order, Tanzania has contributed meaningfully to timely responses to conflict and emerging security challenges, thereby enforcing or reinforcing the credibility, unity, and effectiveness of African Union Peace and Security Council in advancing a peaceful, secured, and resilient continent. Excellencies, in addition, we are using our mandate in the AU Bureau to drive the second 10-year plan of Agenda 2063, specifically focusing on African Free Continental Trade Area, full implementation and the global elevation of Kiswahili as a tool for trade. In leveraging the African Continental Free Trade Area, Tanzania continues to engage in trade activities, whereas we have recorded positive balance of trade through the African Continental Free Trade Area Guided Trade Initiative. Also, as the champion of women and youth in trade and the African Continental Free Trade Area, I call upon the international community to support the financial inclusion agenda for women and youth to facilitate their involvement in trade. On multilateralism, Excellencies, we are meeting at a time when the global architecture of cooperation is under strain. Growing unilateralism threatens to bypass the very institutions that have maintained global peace for decades. Tanzania's response to this trend is clear. Multilateralism is not optional, it is essential. Tanzania's commitment to regionalism and multilateralism remains unshaken. In an area of growing unilateralism, we believe multilateral platforms are the only way to balance interests and coordinate actions for the global good. In 2025, we utilize every multilateral platform to advocate for a more equitable global financial architecture, refuse to be mere spectators in debates that affect our sovereignty. We use our voice to urge the global powers to ensure that the rules of the international system work for many, not just for the few. Excellencies, the year 2025 also carried special significance for the international community at the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. For Tanzania, this milestone was not merely commemorative. It was an opportunity to reaffirm our enduring faith in multilateralism, international cooperation, and the founding principles of the United Nations. In our engagement at the United Nations during this anniversary year, Tanzania underscored a clear message that the credibility and relevance of the multilateral system must be preserved through equity, inclusiveness, respect for international law, and meaningful reform, particularly to ensure that the voices and interests of developing countries are fully reflected. Tanzania reaffirmed that peace, development, and human dignity are inseparable, and that global challenges demand collective, rule-based solutions rather than unilateral actions. Excellencies, it is undeniable that Tanzania's outlook on the global scene in 2025 was both prospective and challenging. In the year 2026, our voice will be raised to offer solutions, and our efforts will be concerted to resolve challenges. We'll do so guided by our traditional tenets of promotion of peace and stability, good neighborliness, adherence to the principle of non-alignment, non-interference in domestic affairs of other countries, upholding human rights, including the rights to development, and promoting regionalism and multilateralism. Tanzania will therefore not seek to take sides in a divided world, but rather will seek to build bridges that will bring the world together. Our commitment is towards a world governed by law, not by force. Excellencies, it will be remiss of me if I do not appreciate the support rendered by your respective governments to various candidatures of Tanzania in different organizations whose elections was held in 2025. Moreover, in advancing our cultural diplomacy, Tanzania continues to champion the promotion of Kiswahili as a unifying language that connects peoples, culture, and economies across borders. A particularly historic milestone was reached last year with UNESCO's decision to recognize Kiswahili as one of the official languages of its General Conference. This decision of a profound importance, as it marks the very first time a language of African origin has been accorded such status as the organization's highest decision-making body. Thank you very much, UNESCO. In conclusion, Your Excellencies, Tanzania remains a friend for all. We are non-aligned but multi-engaged, bridging the global West concessional support or the global East infrastructure support. We seek sovereign pragmatism and engage in partnership that respect our autonomy while delivering mutual prosperity. The United Republic of Tanzania is focusing on its future. We seek trade, not aid, technology transfer, not technical assistance. We welcome collaboration in de-risking projects through development financing institutions, export credit, blended finance, and risk insurance. We encourage deeper private sector linkages and strong people-to-people ties through education, skills partnership, and cultural cooperation. We are building a nation that has learned from its past and focusing on its future. I urge you to look beyond the headlines of the past months and see the structural reforms we are undertaking. Our doors are open, our policy is clear, and our resolve is firm. Let us move from dialogue to delivery and from shared intent to shared impact. Let us build together for global prosperity. I end my remarks as I began by wishing you, your families, staffs, governments, organizations, a happy and prosperous New Year 2026. May I now request you to join me in a toast. Let's toast for the continued peace and prosperity of the United Republic of Tanzania, for the strengthened friendship and cooperation between Tanzania and your countries and organizations, and for the continued well-being of all of us here present. Cheers, and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Coca-Cola.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President, for your leadership and for your reflection of 2025 and sharing your vision for 2026. And specifically, you are resolved to use your second term to repair, rebuild, and renew our nation. This, Your Excellency, is truly living the saying that life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. And for that to happen, your call for partnership speaks volume. That Tanzania remains a friend for all. Your Excellency, the President, we thank you. Your Excellencies, honorable guests, we will now move forward from formal remarks to a one-by-one greet Her Excellency the President session. Your Excellency, with your permission, may I kindly invite you to proceed to the center of the stage for the diplomatic community to greet you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellencies, we kindly request that we keep it brief.
hawana muda.
Your Excellencies, we kindly remind you to keep it brief.
you.